There is something happening in your chart today that most horoscopes will not catch, and it changes how you should spend the next 24 hours, Aries. Right now, Neptune is drifting through your own sign, and it has been for months, quietly asking a question you might not have consciously noticed. Is the version of you that the world sees actually still true? This is a Western tropical placement, and Neptune here does not destroy anything. It just blurs edges between your image and your identity, between the face you show and the person underneath. You have probably felt it as a strange sensitivity to how you are perceived. Flicker of wait, is that really me, when you see your own photo or hear your own voice on a recording. That is not vanity. That is Neptune doing its slow, dissolving work. Layer onto that a much faster moving story. The moon tonight is trining Mercury, and depending on which tradition you are listening to, that Mercury sits either in your fourth house of home in one reading, or in Cancer in another, both pointing to the same emotional address. Family, memory, the private rooms of your life. A trine is an easy conversation between planets, so tonight the sky is essentially handing you permission to feel something and actually say it out loud, gently, to someone who already loves you. Meanwhile, in the Vedic or sidereal tradition, which calculates the zodiac differently, using a fixed backdrop of stars rather than the seasonal one Western astrology uses, the moon is being read as sitting in Taurus today. That placement is often linked to money matters, and practitioners in that tradition are flagging today as one where small financial leaks could show up if you are not paying attention. Two completely different frameworks, two completely different moon stories, and yet, here is where it gets interesting. They are both pointing you toward the same instruction. Slow down and look honestly at what is really going on beneath the surface, whether that surface is your bank balance or your public image. Let that sit for a second. Western astrology is watching your identity dissolve and reform. Vedic astrology is watching your resources quietly shift. Different lenses, same underlying weather. Today rewards inward honesty over outward performance. So here is where this actually lands in your life, starting with the part most people ask about first, your relationships. That Moon-Mercury trine we just talked about is still active tonight, and it is going to make certain conversations feel almost too easy. A memory might surface out of nowhere. A family member might say something ordinary that suddenly feels loaded. The temptation, especially for you, Aries, is to explain yourself immediately, to talk your way through the feeling before you have actually let yourself have it. Do not. Give it 20 minutes of quiet first. Not because rest is avoidance, it is not, but because the plain, kind version of what you need to say only shows up after you have stopped performing it for an audience, even an audience of one person you love. When you do speak, speak simply. The people who trine your Mercury tonight are not looking for eloquence. They are looking for you. Now, we will come back to what this means for your evening in a moment, but there is a professional dimension to this that deserves attention too. That same Neptune and Aries haze that has been softening your sense of image. It is also making work feel slower than it should. Things you are pushing for are not necessarily stalling because you are doing something wrong. They might be stalling because the bigger picture is not ready to move at your preferred speed yet. That is a hard sentence for an Aries to hear, admittedly. The good news hiding inside that frustration. Today's chatty lunar trine is perfect for venting instead of stewing. Talk it out with a friend, or better, go for a brisk walk and let your body burn off what your mind wants to spiral over. And there is a small, specific gift arriving later. The moon slips into Aries itself in the evening hours, giving you a short but real boost of clarity. Use it to actually ask yourself where all this effort is taking you. If the honest answer is toward a paycheck and nowhere else, that is worth noticing. Aim for satisfaction, not just output, tonight. Which brings us naturally to money, because the Vedic moon in Taurus reading we mentioned earlier is not just abstract, it is specific. Practitioners working in that tradition suggest this is a day to check your actual expenses rather than your assumed ones, and to resist impulse purchases that feel small in the moment. The same reading also notes a more auspicious window between roughly 1 and 2 in the afternoon for anything financial or important you need to finalize. Take that as a gentle suggestion rather than a rule. And if you do want to lean into the day's traditional lucky color, orange is the one mentioned. None of this is about scarcity, by the way. There is also a reward for effort thread running through today's financial weather. It simply asks you to notice the difference between what you are earning and what you are actually keeping. Here is what makes today genuinely worth paying attention to, and it is the kind of detail that is easy to miss if you are only half listening. You have Neptune quietly dissolving your public-facing identity, a Moon-Mercury trine handing you a rare shortcut into honest conversation, and a Vedic moon in Taurus asking you to get concrete about resources, all landing on the same Sunday. What that combination actually means is this: today is not asking you to build anything new. It is asking you to see what is already true, whether that truth lives in your bank account, your relationships, or your own reflection. Most people will scroll past that. You will not, because you just heard it. Take a breath with me here. That insight connects directly to how your body is likely to feel today. Neptune's haze does not just affect image. It affects energy, a kind of low fog that can make you want to do everything and also nothing at all. The instruction from more than one tradition converging today is almost identical. Rest is not weakness, and small routine adjustments, especially around health, may matter more than any dramatic overhaul would. If you have been putting off a doctor's appointment or ignoring a nagging ache because you are too busy, this is a nudge, not a crisis. On the remedy side, some Vedic practitioners might suggest planetary remedies tied to today's placements, certain gemstones, colors, or mantras for people whose individual birth charts support them. That is worth naming honestly. Gemstone prescription in Vedic astrology is never one size fits all. It depends on your personal chart, planetary dignity, and timing. So treat any gemstone suggestion as something to explore with a qualified practitioner rather than something to buy off a shelf today. The color orange and a few quiet minutes of mantra or meditation, on the other hand, are safe for virtually anyone to try. As the day moves toward evening, that same theme of hidden emotional weight comes home literally. You may realize, once the house finally gets quiet, how much you have been carrying without saying so. A private feeling might want to surface through an ordinary family exchange. There is a quiet myth worth busting here. Needing comfort is not beneath you. No matter how independent your sign's reputation makes you feel, telling one trusted person what has been weighing on you, or simply admitting you need a slower evening, is not a retreat. It is the same honesty Neptune has been asking of you all along, just wearing a smaller, softer outfit. If restlessness pulls at you today, a short trip toward nature, even a walk somewhere green fits the spiritual undertone of this Sunday better than anything ambitious. This is not a day built for grand gestures. It is built for noticing, for anyone who wants the quick version to carry with them. Today's supportive color leans orange. The most favorable window for important tasks sits in the early afternoon, and the emotional high point of the day arrives after dark, once the moon settles into your own sign. So if you are taking one thing from today, Aries, let it be this. Check your actual expenses before your assumed ones. Have the honest conversation you have been avoiding, and give your body the rest it has been quietly requesting. Notice where your image and your identity have started to drift apart, and let tonight's moon in your own sign help you close that gap, even briefly. You started this day sensing that something in your chart was unusual, and now you know what it was. Not a single dramatic transit, but 3 different traditions all whispering the same quiet truth from different angles. That kind of convergence does not happen every day. If it landed for you, you already know what to do with it.